Yo, 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 we're back in this thing. What's going on, baby?
Freestyle, baby, freestyle. I'm ready for some freestyle. I'm good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh. Put a beat on.
exactly. Exactly.
How you been, man?
I've been good. I've been good. It's hot. It's the first week of August. I'm embracing it. I'm celebrating it, and I'm moving through hour by hour, day by day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, right?
Yep, that's all we can do. That's the way to do it, good brother. That's the way to do it.
Sure.
Way to do it.
For sure. So I see you're representing your fraternizing organization. What's that?
Well, yes, it's also hang loose. I know, as what people saying.
Let me educate you on that one. Go
Please
on.
Please do.
Go on.
Please do. But this is the phi. Throw up the phi alpha. That's the hand signal that the folk do. That's what it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent.
Representing Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. This is a shirt that good brother Dr. Raymond Dalton, who is a mentor of mine. He's an older brother. He's the graduate chapter over there. He's one of our advisors while I was president of my chapter at Cornell, Alpha chapter. And he got this from, I think, New Orleans. They had it in New Orleans. It was the national convention. I didn't go, but he came back and gave your boy a souvenir. So
that's what's up.
I didn't get a chance to go, but I got a little bit of a souvenir. So I appreciate it. Shout out to the good brother, Dr. Dalton.
How come, I think I asked this before, but I just have to ask it again. How come it's always Founders Day? You ever notice that? Like, oh, happy Founders, everybody! Like every week, it's a Founders Day. It ain't do it, y'all.
There's only a few that I actually acknowledge. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I don't understand what's happening, but go on.
I'm joking. My Founders Day is December 4th, 1906. 1906, as they'd say. It was founded at Cornell University. Every other one I just draw a blank about the other ones. I don't know when they were founded. They might not even exist.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thanks. 1906. I don't think I knew that it was founded at Cornell.
Yes, sir. Founded there. Started off as a social studies club where folks got together and did work together. They really held each other down. If you can imagine, I mean, Cornell University was founded in 1865, and this was founded in 1906. So you think about what's happening up in Ithaca, New York during that time, and how many black and brown folk out there, how many people need help and assistance, all these things. So of course you need a type of fraternity, so to speak, to help each other out.
That's great. Awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you got a shirt, but then I need you to educate me, good brother.
On why we don't say shaka?
Shaka? People say shaka?
Yeah, we don't. I can't even say it. We don't say hang loose.
Gotcha.
So in Hawaii, this was a phrase that was a little piece that people had, just like shaka, So colonialism is very real.
Yes, it is.
And hang loose was easier for Americans to say when we occupy, colonize those islands that are known as Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the Hawaiian language, it was illegal for people to speak the Hawaiian language until like late 60s, 70s.
I'm not surprised.
Illegal. They controlled people from speaking their mother tongue. And when you think about, if we revisit to our former conversations about Haiti, about Puerto Rico, these territories,
mm-hmm.
these lands that we occupy, people were not speaking language. So in Hawaii, no one says hang loose except for the Brady Bunch and folks who visit. On the island, they say shaka, and it's a very serious thing. It's like shaka, and it just means like I see you, I'm with you, like hey, hello, what's up? It means all this stuff. And so shaka is the proper term in Hawaii.
I appreciate that.
You say hang loose, they're like, oh yeah, you visited.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I remember, every time, because I have yet to go to Hawaii.
Gotta go.
I know my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they went there for their honeymoon and they enjoyed it. Showed the black sand beach and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But I remember just, again, T-shirts I was given when I was growing up, when I was younger.
Of course.
I had the sign, hang loose, everything. So I appreciate that education, good brother.
My grandmother brought me back a Hang Loose T-shirt when she went back in the day, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. I was like, yo, it was like blue with pink writing because it was Hawaii. I was like, yo, look at my shirt, yo. Mm-hmm. My grandma went to Hawaii, you know, and thought it was like the biggest thing in the world, you know. I wish my grandma was around to talk to her about that flight because I can't imagine what it's like for her to fly for 10 hours from Philadelphia. But you know, and then it's kind of ironic because 5 years ago I had just landed there, you know, moving there, had driven cross country, and like right about right now was when I first got there. But that's another story. But yeah, Shaka is a language, and you know, aloha means hello and goodbye. You know, it doesn't just mean hello. There's so much in there, and so much ways that we've come in and like obliterated the culture, which is worth exploring and thinking about. So just little notes.
Appreciate that.
Shaka. If you say shaka to someone, folks will be like, yeah, you know.
I like
Most folks like, it's hang loose. It's hang loose. You know, it's like it's not hang loose. It's shaka.
I like that. Thank you.
SHAKA, education. Hey, the more you know.
Listen, you saved me from a confrontation before I get there.
Exactly. Or not so much confrontations, but more access. You know, you walk in like, hang loose. They're like, hi, how are you?
Yeah, and they won't show me the good brown juice. You're right.
No, exactly. You say shaka, they'd be like, oh, my dude.
Yeah, brother.
Right. Come through.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Yeah, education. The more you know. Look, it's kind of young on me. Say, but it's a vault. You know, I lead these trips and we go to the Stax Museum in Memphis, Tennessee, you know, the birthplace of like the dirty funk. You know, it was like they have Motown up at Detroit, below the Mason-Dixon line, they have funk, like dirty funk, you know, Isaac Hayes, you know, Booker T and MGs, that whole crowd. And Bolt Records was a division within Stax. It came out and I get my surfs. And it's a good color, good material, which is always you know, and music is crucial in our lives, you know, whether we know it or not. It's really a fantastic and important force for us. And so I'm rocking the vault, even though it doesn't really fit. But, you know, still.
Absolutely, I appreciate that too. Listen, it's only been about a few minutes in, and I have learned a lot, good brother. Last time you talked to me, you educated me about Stax, because the brother didn't know, and then the vault too. So I appreciate it.
Records it's all around you, but we don't know. And that's the question is why.
Yep.
You know, why is stuff kept from us? Why I go a little further in terms of Hawaii. Hula dance. That was actually originally for men. It was a representation, a conversation amongst the people, and men originally did hula dance. But the visitors like, we want to see ladies do hula dance. So they turned it around. Oh, incredible, right? Think about that. This is a cultural expression that's centuries old in a land that's still mysterious in terms of its construction and its origins. And we come and be like, well, I want to see ladies hula dance. I don't want to see no man hula dance. You know. There we go. So it's time to sip. What you sip? What you got?
Took a little selection off the bar that has not been opened yet. That's just been sitting there. 1792. I never had it before.
You're so fancy.
It looked nice. It's gold.
It look good.
And my cousin, via Amanda, shout out to the cousin Jeff. I know he watches us, and he was on the Instagram. He said he tasted it. He said it wasn't his cup of tea. He didn't really like it that much. So I'm gonna see if it's more my speed or not. So we'll see.
That sounds like quite a year. There's a lot going on.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You and I wouldn't be sitting here sipping.
Yeah, listen, you're absolutely right. So if I pour this and all of a sudden
the answers come out.
You already know.
I do be thinking about that, considering all stuff was from Kentucky, even though Kentucky was not so much of a enslaving place, relative to some of the other spots. But I be thinking about them barrels. Like, who was moving them barrels?
Listen, and that's why it's important for us to find the black bourbon, man, because there's like you just need it. Because if you think about even thinking about craft beer too, because Amanda and I, we like beer. That space is so white.
Oh, completely.
So white. And the folks who might even consume beer, they don't consume the craft beer, particularly those folks who are like African Americans, etc. There's more folks get into that, but they're drinking more of the mass-produced. Things are not as good or as well prepared, such as the Miller, etc. All those things. And it's like, So it's just being able to be in certain spaces. Because even back when we were in Bensalem, PA, Bucks County, right? We would go to certain breweries, not distilleries, but certain breweries, and even some cases wineries back when we were in New Jersey. We look like we stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Folks like, what you know about wine? What you know about craft beer? Why are you here?
Right.
Like, and it's always that situation. So, yeah, we'll see if I feel oppressed by this. That's what we'll see.
Okay. Not mad.
Yes, sir. What do you sip on?
Well, I decided to bring back after you showed out last time. I'm up in it. And I realized listen to you and understand your knowledge. I didn't really explore what a Solera aged bourbon whiskey meant.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to do a tiny bit of research. Not homework boy like you did. But just tapping into it to touch base. And I learned a little bit.
Okay, listen. I'd love to hear more about. I just want to let people know my credentials. I got my master's in whiskey from YouTube University. It took about a summer. It was like a summer online course in my basement, and it's just one thing I just did on a whim, and I feel like I passed. There was no test, so I don't really know, but there's a lot of tasting.
Yes, yeah, I'm proud of you. I only got to the associate's degree. I'm still working on it, the associate's degree of my bourbon whiskey experience. So I learned today that when something is Solera aged, that means things are aged in different barrels, and then those barrels are brought together. There's multiple different age barrels brought in. It's kind of like that. Wine is like that super wine,
Okay.
Or multiple grapes. So I thought that's interesting. I said that may explain some of the beautiful taste.
Yeah.
So new term for me, Solera aged.
I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know, because I've learned that in these warehouses that they have the barrels, that some are like, depending on what floor they're on, they might be exposed to more heat or less heat, which can influence it. So I'm imagining take it from different barrels, etc., particularly if it's not climate controlled in the warehouse. Yeah, thank you for that. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, right. It really is, isn't it? Hey.
Oh, this is a cork too.
I'm working out. Okay.
I don't know I thought it was a twist off. I'm excited now. I'm excited now.
Gotta earn that master's. It's a serious bottle.
Oh yes.
I love it. Yummy.
Hints of acetone, little ethanol.
Oh goodness! Don't be chewing no acetone, please. Yeah, this just smells good. This smells good. I want to chew it. The Hill Rock.
One day, I'm coming for you. One day.
Hey, you got a birthday this year, don't you?
True, birthday. You're right. My birthday bourbon. I gotta do a birthday bourbon. You're right.
Okay. Joey Dotis. So, what would you like to toast to today, young man?
Let's toast to gaining knowledge. Always seeking to gain knowledge, because a lot of times we might think we know something, but we don't know something.
Yeah.
So just always to endeavoring to find out.
I like that. To that. Endeavoring to find out. So good. So very delicious.
I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
fan.
how is it? This is your first taste.
I'm a fan.
Excellent.
I am a fan, and it's interesting too because it's 93.7 proof. It's not like math; you can't round up. This is 93.7, not 94, 93.7. Um, it's good.
You
It's
could light that on fire. 93.7.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Match to that.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
it's good. It's good. I mean, not my favorite bottle, but it's good, and I think it might go well in a cocktail.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Nice old fashioned.
Old fashions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like old fashions.
Yes, sir. How's that Hell Rock hitting today? It speaks for itself.
It's so good. I forgot to pay attention to you experiencing a new bottle. I was like, yeah, look at my lips experience. Like, oh yeah, my bad. How was your taste? You know. So I have a little query for you. I was thinking about this, and I think we touched on this before, but I want to explore it again. You know, as we make our way through life and we go through these journeys and the chances to learn and to grow and experience and search our ways in our careers and our lives, our experiences, our connections. One, if you could, for me, indulge me and reflect upon a no you received that was the right no. You know, could have been anything. Applying for a job, an experience, a house, a connection with somebody, a friend. What's a no you received and it really was the right no?
Hmm. Well, I know we've talked about this before,
Mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm.
but one just really hit home just now that I haven't shared before. So I don't think I shared this before, and if I did, then damn, it just really hit home again. Um,
Mm.
so when I was younger, I had the opportunity to go hunting with my friend and his father. So we were supposed to go hunting. I said we were supposed to go hunting because my grandfather said no. He refused to allow me to go hunting. This is my grandfather. Um, he was a correction officer. So even at his funeral, they had the folks come and salute the flag and give an American flag over his casket, etc. He was a correction officer, and he carried a revolver with him everywhere he went, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Carried a revolver. I remember one time, in Harlem, in our first apartment, he went to the bathroom, and then he left, and I went in the bathroom after him. I was like, "Oh, Papa, you left your gun in the bathroom, brother. Like, brother, why is it over there hanging on the hamper, good brother? Like, come on. Good thing I'm a good kid, and I'm not over there playing around with stuff. You know what I mean? Like, ugh. But he carried a piece with him. He always carried his piece with him, and when he got a little older, they turned it in. I'm like, y'all could have saved it for the brother. Like, y'all could have saved it for your boy. Like, can you pass it down? I mean, it could have been a memento. They got guns in museums, right? It don't got to be loaded. I'm just saying. Can I have a memento? And maybe, just maybe, it could be a memento that works too. Just saying. Instead, I got like some handcuffs and bullets. I'm like, what am I gonna do with handcuffs and bullets and no gun? Anyway, I digress. All I'm saying is, he told me no. He said, that boy does not need a gun in his hand.
Mm.
So I'm my mother's only son, the youngest of her children. And I'm the only grandson, the only male in the family, really, outside of my grandfather and my nuclear family, because I have two aunts, my mother, and my three older sisters. And he said, yeah, that boy does not need a gun in his hands.
Wow.
Coming from a man who's had a gun on his hip, who was a correction officer, who's from down south, southern boy from Virginia. He said that boy does not need a gun in his hands. So that's the no that I was given. And I guess I needed to hear that. I guess I need to see that because, I mean, who knows? I can't rewrite history. But if I were to go on that hunting trip, maybe my perspective, maybe my, thoughts, beliefs change, alter. Um, Maybe I become infatuated with firing the firearm. Who knows? Who knows? In the grand scheme of things, looking back, I think that was probably a no that I needed, because probably he's looking out for me in terms of, listen, young dude from Harlem, he don't need to go shooting anything. Anything. Matter of fact, might not even let the brother play Duck Hunt on Nintendo. Well, even sometimes that's problematic. Get away from the screen, boy. Get away from the screen. I'm shooting ducks, though. So I think that's probably one of the no's that probably was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it because I understand, at least now at this age, I understand where it was coming from. And one of the things that I wish I had the opportunity to do is, my grandfather passed away when I was in college. I think it was my junior year. I had just crossed, actually. Crossed 2008, fall of 2008, October 18th.
Cross the street? When you cross?
Oh, the Burning Sands.
Burning Sands? It was that hot in Ithaca? I'm learning so much. Shaka.
As they say, across the Burning Sands, right? And that was in October. My grandfather, who was battling dementia, etc., he had beat cancer, but was battling dementia, had diabetes, etc. He passed away in December of 2008. Actually, I think he passed away December 2008, on December 21st. And the crazy thing is, my niece was born later on in 2010 on December 21st.
Ooh.
So, talk about ancestors. But anyway, I think that when that happened, I'm like, wow. Because what I really would love to do, if I can have brown juice with anybody, I would love to have a glass with him. I would love to have a glass with him. And then maybe even talk about, yo, why did you say you didn't want me to go hunting?
Right.
What was up? You always carry a piece.
Right.
So I think that's probably my answer.
Yeah, that chance to ask, who are you? As an adult, we can really comprehend it when it's not just like interesting stories. Like, I mean, the part of becoming an adult is understanding. That's why I like that question. Part of what becoming an adult is understanding what folks were thinking and moving through and thinking about. That notion of keeping a gun out of your hands. You have no idea what he was going through.
Mm-hmm.
He felt some kind of way about his career. Maybe he thought you would do better with a book in your hand. Maybe he worried about you going outside and shooting somebody. Maybe he had a premonition. Maybe all of it. It's hard to decipher and important to accept. So that's powerful.
That's real. And then when you ask that question, like I said, it just hit me in the face. I'm like, what? Just came. So yeah. So I would say that's the one for me. How about you, good brother?
That's great. I have had a lot of no's, but I go to career stuff, and I think about in the film world how I was on a path and probably could have, with a little bit of work and hustle and begging and pleading and burying some bodies and stepping over fallen bodies, etc. I could have had some achievement as like a studio executive and made a ton of money, probably living in LA now, marketing movies, who knows what I mean right now, but I didn't get the positions that would lead me to those roles, and that forced me to go outside of it and be creative. And I really appreciate and value that journey. And I think that's why that question is so powerful. Because it's hard when you hear it, you're like, no, I want it. It's not fair. I deserve it. I will thrive at this. Give me a chance. Let me in. Like, open the door, or just show me the door. And I do think about that, how when I was at Miramax, and I couldn't, granted, I was one of like 5 people that were Black in the whole big company, which was one telling thing, and the closed Black door slammed in my face was very real. So I knew that wasn't really truly an option. So I think that is where I come to and think about that no, like not being allowed to accelerate in this track of executive level in the entertainment business. And I'm so grateful for it because I love that I get to create. I love what I do. Yes, I would mind having like the figures and the money, but I say this often. I know a lot of miserable millionaires. I literally do. I'm not exaggerating. Like I know millionaires who are miserable people, and I would say that is not a judgment. Ain't nothing wrong with being a millionaire. I do not push back on that. But I do find myself knowing many people who have a lot and they don't have anything, and it's sad, and it's problematic, and it is what it's a very just challenging because we all think about things, you know. Which leads you to a math another question.
Please.
What does the words are used too much, but they work. Joy, happiness. What does that mean? I think I'm thinking to I had to be with family this past weekend. We were sending my cousin off, and you hear the songs and the pieces and the words, and that song, "This Joy I Have, the world didn't give it to me."
Mm-hmm.
The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I turn to you. What does that look like for you? What does that stuff? What does that mean to you?
That's a deep question. One that spans a number of different parts of who I am. I would say thinking about my racial identity, thinking about my spirituality, or my identity as a Christian, thinking about me as a Black American. There's so many pieces in that. What most readily resonates with me when I hear joy and happiness, I would say there's a distinction between the two for me. I feel like joy is constant, and I think it's ongoing, ever going, probably always continuous. I think that's joy. So when people say that they're joyful, filled with joy, I think that's separate from happiness. I feel like joy is peace, true peace, or as we say in the faith, peace that surpasses all understanding, right? Freedom, true freedom, liberation, emancipation, empowerment, something that cannot be taken away. There's a possibility of me being filled with joy, but not happy because something could have happened. I can be angry with all this racism, oppression, killing of unarmed Black people, and still have joy, which is the only thing that keeps me from doing something crazy. And maybe not crazy in the sense of that's a wild thing to do, but more so like it's probably not the best thing to do. So when I think about joy and happiness, joy is more so something that's always there. It might take a while to get to, but once you get it, it doesn't leave you. Because I don't think joy is found in material things. I don't think joy is found even in other people. I think joy is really found within. Now, there might be some external forces and external things that make you happy that might bring you joy, but I still think all these things are choices and they start within. So in terms of happiness, I would say that happiness is a choice, but it's a hard choice because sometimes it's I would say happiness is an emotion rather than a state of being, if that makes sense. I would say, being joyful, filled with joy is more of a state of being. It's who I am versus what I'm feeling in this present moment. So there's times where I might be tired, angry, upset, disgruntled, annoyed, but still feel joy. and you can't take that away from me, but I'm also not giving that to you because that's my happy spot. That's why I can always go back to, regardless of what's happening around.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very deep question, brother. That's a very deep question. But hopefully I gave what I hope is a good answer in terms of making sense and being clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'll join you with a little pushback in terms of you saying you hope you gave a good answer. There can be no wrong answer when you think about that existential question of what does joy and happiness mean to you. So I'll just add that caveat on to what you say. So I think it's an existential question.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep question. I found myself walking around thinking about it because we're human beings. We find ourselves in the pits, because human beings make life rough.
Mm-hmm.
We just do stuff to each other that is so like, why do you, I do it myself. Like, why did I do that? Like, why did I do that? And it's like the inner struggle to be good and joyful and happy and peaceful and push for positiveness in the world. And as I think about that question, I used to think, and it's ironic because we were just talking about, I'm saying like, I don't mind making millions of dollars, but that I don't think things are what brings the joy. And you talked about that in terms of a deeper level of something inside, that keeps us moving forward, that explains resilience, And I think about so much of the language and the words and like Southern Baptist or African American religion. A lot of it is about like, I gotta make it till tomorrow, you know. I gotta make it through. I've had hard times like this before.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunities pass me more and more. I claim the victory at last. This too shall pass. That's how we make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we make it. That's how we make it. And we hear those words, and you see people just like exalt and like, woof,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a message they need to hear. And whatever your religious perspective may be, think about, for me, when I think about joy, I mean, I have many moments, but one little piece of it is like the fact that that's real and that exists.
Mm.
Like that little moment, that language, that music, that power, that we have to take us there, and then all the ability we have with it. Like I'm loving the digital fun world we're having. It's powerful to see the world exposed to. I don't even know if they're watching it, getting it, the level that we're getting it, in terms of like what's happening on Instagram or Twitter or all these little memes that are happening. Because homegirl that blew up that Jeep. Have you seen the gospel interpretations of that?
Yes.
Genius. There's a bomb in Gilead, and there is a bomb, and they turn to the car and it's blowing up. Janky, but like so. I mean, it's comical, and then because it can speak so many languages that can't even be communicated, I say it's as powerful as the drums in the distance, that we don't know who's playing them, but we know that they're talking to us. We don't know the exact message, but we know it's communicating to us. We can feel it. We can interpret it and respond. Like it's on that deep of a level. And I'm taking like memes and funniness on Twitter to another level to talk about how it's so powerful to see these young kids like go and just take and interpret. And then some of these older people,
Mm-hmm.
like all these little funny moments that are out there done, like they are funny, but they also have a deep connective tissue that's unspoken, that's so powerful. So I think joy and happiness, and I really appreciate your distinction, the real important distinction, this important distinction that's there in terms of joy versus happiness. Joy being on another level, and happiness being at a level that's different, not a judgment
Mm-hmm.
than the other, but important to understand them as you go down these paths, you know. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, reminds me of the song lyrics, joy and pain, sunshine and rain, right? I would imagine that anybody is capable of being happy. And I would also imagine that you probably got to go through some stuff in order for you to reach joy. You probably have to have some gray hairs in order for you to understand what joy is and what it's not. Because, and I think here's the piece that, I'm guilty of it in terms of being a millennial, and I think a lot of young folks too, everybody, I think for whatever the reason might be, we have gotten joy confused with pleasure.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of folks chase the wrong things because it's pleasurable, but it doesn't bring joy. So you might chase all these things that bring you pleasure or short-term gratification, yet at the end of the day, you end up feeling empty because it's not joy. You might be happy, but then you can, and all that happiness disappears, and now you level out, and you're just there. With what? So I think that's the piece, and it's difficult, particularly in a capitalistic society that tells you that you need to buy, consume, and if you don't have this, then you're not going to be happy. If you don't have that brand new car, then you're not going to be happy. If you don't have the brand new Beats headphones, people are going to make fun of you, and you're not going to be happy. You don't buy the Jordans, but you buy the off-brand joints, or you go to Stephen Barry and you get the the Starberries, as opposed to actually getting the, or you go to Payless, you get Shaquille O'Neal shoes. Everybody clowning you. You not dope. You not flossing. You not fresh. You're gonna be upset. They think they're happy, but they're really hollow inside because it's a possession that they're filling themselves with as opposed to joy. So I think distinguishing the difference between pleasure, happiness, joy, and understanding the difference between short-term gains and gratification versus long-term gains and gratification is something that we don't talk about enough.
No, God no. And you just explicated very well my statement of I know a lot of miserable millionaires. Just broke it down. And I think one of the times I sat and thought, well, I want that, and I want what they have, and I want this, and I want that. And then I get closer to it, and it's like, ooh, roses smell like boo-boo. It's not as good as you thought it was. It's good. I appreciate your mind so much. I really
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I appreciate the deep questions, brother. You always say you coming with the out the gate with these existential, soul searching and soul stirring questions, brother.
That's how I be, dude. That's how I be.
I know. I love it.
I not everybody does. Some people go like, "Oh, you two, I'm gonna go over here," and I'm like, "What's the difference between joy and happiness? Are you finding it?"
See, we the folks at the party who sip the brown juice to talk this ish.
Exactly.
We got the folks who sip the brown juice to go talk and go off. I mean, we on the couch. We on the couch with the leg crossed, like, no, don't tell me, no.
Trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, time to interpolate. I'm gonna interpolate this situation.
Yes, sir.
So that's wonderful. Another question.
Yes.
The mind is prepared to go even further.
Yes.
So we're from a culture that had to create and build upon with limited budgets, limited access, limited ability to achieve, not internal ability, but the ability to achieve what we were entitled to because they're blockers giving us out. What are some ways that you say your mom got real creative and made it work in life? And do you want an example, or do you want to just
give me an example? Give me an example.
For example, the Jiffy corn muffin mix box. That's supposed to be cornbread, but I've had some grandmas make some real serious flapjacks, or cover some fish and they fried it with that Jiffy corn muffin mix. What's something you witnessed that was a creation and turned out to be like incredible.
Mm,
Food, it could be anything, anything, anything.
Trying to think of creations in particular.
That's a tough one. I acknowledge. I threw it out there.
That's a tough one. I'll go somewhere else first before I get there. So I'll start the plane this way and hopefully I land. All right. So let's see. So thinking about, so my mother worked for the post office, and in her workings at the post office, you know, you're traveling in different spaces, you meet a lot of different people. She actually delivered mail to the grandma from Family Matters in the Bronx. She actually, before she passed, she delivered mail to her. I can't remember her name, but delivered mail to her as well as Slick Rick.
What kind of mail did they get? What kind of mail?
But said that the woman from the grandma from Family Matters was just a wonderful spirit, wonderful soul. Just because she's out there, and anybody know the Bronx, out there Eden Wall projects and over there whatnot, just delivering mail out there. Because I think she worked at Wakefield Station, whatever the case may be.
I need to take a pause. Your mother knew all the government names. I just had to say that. You knew everybody government.
Yes.
Wow.
So here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe it was a tag team effort between us, me and my mother, because she worked for the post office. And there's some things that she might happen to get for whatever reason. But this is before you applied to college online. Before you applied to college online, your applications had to be postmarked by a certain date.
Ooh, don't tell on yourself. Ooh. Use your benefits. Privilege, baby. Privilege.
Oh, yeah. Your parents work where? That's cool. My mom worked at the post office. And Mr. Last Minute, Mr. Procrastinator, can I get this postmarked, please? Okay. It was postmarked by that time. Don't mean it was done at that time. It was postmarked by that time. So,
allegedly. I don't think you're
allegedly.
Allegedly. Telling the story.
It's hypothetical. This may have happened. Because, sometimes folks don't have access to certain things. But we have access to other things. That's an example of creativity. There's other pieces too, I'm sure. But I'm trying to think of.
The plane is doing pretty good.
I mean, and there's other things that are like struggle stories that I will need to get into.
I know, right? It's like
struggle stories. It's like, I mean, I get it, brother, but some struggle stories. But other than that, I would say, listen, my mother's always a hookup, always about the hookup. Whether we're getting an entertainment system from somewhere that they no longer needed it, but we bringing it home, or if it's like a hookup where it's like, oh, we're gonna eat for free here because you got a certain amount of points here, so we're gonna go on a trip vacation to Atlantic City, and that means that we have one night here, but we gotta pack our bags and go to the next hotel the next day. And so I think my mother was the queen of the finesse game. So I think, like as the kids will call it today, she's finesse queen of the world.
Yeah.
To make sure that, we can have experiences that otherwise we wouldn't have access to.
Yeah. I respect it 110%. 110%. Yeah, I totally get all of that. The hookup is the thing. And I think that's why we fall right into like hood brother up.
That's how we got by. That's how we get by.
Exactly. And I think about how my family was really good at giving out the government lunches.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I had so many of those sandwiches. It was very we got lunches for 6 weeks, because we gave them out. We stood up there in front, handing them out. And so I had so much. I would go and open it up and throw that bologna sandwich away, and take those little apple juices and those apple juices in the plastic with the foil on top.
Yes.
It was all high fructose corn syrup, but that stuff was good as a mofo.
Listen.
Come on. Me and my sister used to freeze it and get right to the point where it's just icy. So it's like you can almost chew it.
I used to do those with Capri Suns.
Nice.
Put them in the freezer, then you take scissors and cut it. It lasts longer too.
Look at
Those things not cheap. If you get some Capri Suns, you better be happy.
we had you just y'all are down the block. We had we had quarter water.
Listen, that was a daily regimen. You know, did you have a favorite color quarter water?
I always like blue, but it ain't taste good.
I like blue.
Blue ain't taste good.
See, all blue's not created equal because there's something like they got the ones that look a little more barrel-like, and then the ones that are a little bit more rectangular, or square. Different types. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's tricky. All that stuff fell into a moment of being like exciting or the worst. Like, I have never had a penny candy that's peach flavor that's good. Not one, right? So it's not just me. It's not just penny candy. You always it's only peach left.
Don't want that. Nope.
What's up with that?
It wasn't meant to be.
Cherry be good, but like the peach flavor,
we learn quickly. Don't do it.
I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did, but it was not the move. Not the move. Made me very unhappy. Because you get your penny candy, you got your whole bag of and the wrappers are everywhere.
Yep.
Grandma come outside, get the wrappers up. Like that. That's a flashback in my head. But then you think of you get to the peach and it's like, what that? So you gotta have it. You can't go back and like, don't give me peach.
Nope. Nope.
Peach chews, never. Any kind of peach candy.
I didn't mean to take us on a tangent, brother. I just
This is it. This is the whole conversation of making a way out of no way. Like we come from a people that were subjugated to having to make something out of nothing. Think about all those delicious dishes that we have that ain't good for us because we're not working in the field anymore right now. But are delicious twice over, but we know how to make it. I remember growing up, when I moved to New York City, living in Harlem, and I was working and making money, and I was making my mother's like version of spaghetti. And I was still doing like putting water in the sauce and putting butter in the sauce to expand it out. And I was like, I don't need to do this because I'm not feeding a family. My mother would make us spaghetti like it was all in one pot. She boiled the pasta, then she put the sauce and the meat. She cooked the meat, onions, chop it up, season it, smell really good, and then mix it all in one pot. And then would put like water and like butter, margarine, because we had no butter, in the pot to expand it, to make it so everybody could eat. And I remember that moment being like, it was a tough one because I was like, wait, is it going to taste as good? Do I depart from what I know? Like what all the little tricks I learned. Like I learned how to cook from those women who were making it spread out, a bunch of people. And as an adult, I was like, I don't have to do this. This is not as healthy for me as I need. I remember the first time I tasted butter. It was college. That's not true. Because we got that block of government cheese butter, which was weird. We're like, yeah, what's this? You ain't got no margarine. You ain't got no the promise, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
I believe it's not butter. That was the bomb. And those little brown things.
And once they empty, there's something else in there.
Exactly. You store everything in it. That was the early day Tupperware.
Oh, talk about it. Talk about it. Yes.
But I did have limited experiences with butter, but butter was strange and foreign to me. First time I saw broccoli was in college. I was like, what's that little green tree you're eating? It wasn't something I knew. So you went to boarding school, so you probably saw it faster than I did.
Yeah, but it's funny because growing up, I think because my grandfather had diabetes, he had margarine all the time. He always had diet soda too. So I feel like in a strange way, I had an affinity to the diet soda and an affinity to margarine before I had like an affinity to butter really or regular soda. But then like, now if I was to taste, I'm like, not margarine though. Margarine is like, I think margarine is like a very special thing.
It is.
It melts differently. It's different. It's something different. Like put a margarine piece of margarine on like a bran muffin, like the way that thing spreads is different, brother. You know, and then it's like if you're impatient and you want your food now, margarine's the way to go. I don't got time to be waiting for this butter to melt.
I have memories of going to like a fancy restaurant and they bring that like ice cold, almost frozen butter and some rolls. And I'm sitting here like, well, what am I supposed to do?
What are you gonna do with that?
Right. Like rubbing it in and trying to be like cool. Right.
It's over here scraping bread all over the place. Right. Sparks flying.
Exactly.
Like the candle too. Like something. I need something out here. Like.
And you mentioned your family your grandfather having diabetes. Well, mine had it too, but they didn't do diet soda. There was no diet soda. I can't even do diet. When I'm making a mistake and buy something diet, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, brother. One that I don't think I'll ever have again.
No, I don't. I think you're in a good spot. It's not. I heard some comedian talking about like folks ordering all this food, like ribs, French fries, this and that. Can I get a Diet Coke? You're like,
Like, come on, brother. Come on, stop it. Well, it reminds me of a few questions. I have a few questions for you, brother, before we close our conversation, because I just some things are just popping up.
Oh no, I think I'll pour it.
Please do. So as you're pouring, think about this. Now I don't know if you drink much soda now. I know I gave up the soda, and the way that I weaned myself off the soda was really through iced tea. So iced tea saved my life. No, I'm joking. This is really through iced tea. But anyway, are you a Coke person or a Pepsi person?
Was there a question? See, this is, I grew up in North Philly. So we had the soda lady.
Okay.
This is somebody that figured out going to a distillery and buying cases and cases and cases of soda and somehow keeping it ice cold. You go up and buy a soda from, we had no corner store. The soda, go up there, and get me 2 Pepsis. It was all Pepsi. I think Coke was a college thing. I didn't have Coca-Cola until I got to college. It was all Pepsi. It was Pepsi won in the hood. In North Philly, Pepsi won in the hood because it's sweeter. It's sweeter. You know, I have to be very careful because I love soda. But I don't do it. I don't do it very often. But like for me, this is my moment. I would only have soda when I go to the movies. I get like popcorn. My thing was popcorn with extra butter and a Sprite. What? That tastes right there. But can't go to the movies right now. Every once in a while, I'll go and get like them boiling sodas with the cane sugar.
Yep.
The high fructose, because that high fructose is killing us, man. You know?
That's why I had to lay off the Snapple until they started putting the real sugar in it.
Oh my God, Snapple. So all that stuff, that's why it's so delicious, because it's so bad for us. So yeah, Pepsi was my move. But for me, it's more like now it's like if I'm at a rest stop, I'll get like a Pepsi in a bag of like, I won't do Funyuns, even though I want to. But I don't do Funyuns, even though I want to. I get Pepsi in a bag of potato chips, like us. My little treat. But yeah, I don't, like right now, I learned from the white people. I got that LaCroix. I got my house LaCroix'd out. LaCroix stuff?
Yes. I love the coconut one.
Oh really? Well, okay. I'm pure and the cranberry berry.
Okay.
Those are my things. I love it. This is the moment. We had like my sisters had an annual barbecue 4th of July thing for the block. And I'm like, okay, I got their sodas, got their Pepsi cherry, ginger, all the stuff, ginger ale, grape soda stuff. And then I was like, let me try and hook it up. I'm gonna get some LaCroix and slide them in and put them in, like mixing it now. Like months later, like, oh, your nasty sodas in the kitchen. But one, like it was open, one was pulled out, and that was it. But they call it a nasty soda. A nasty soda.
Your nasty soda.
Your nasty soda's in there. But I'm like, come on, I want y'all to live. I want y'all to live. All this sugar is no good.
Real. It's real.
It's so real, but it's so good. Pepsi is a cold Pepsi. Oh,
And according to Kendall Jenner, Pepsi solves racism. So what's not to like?
I have a friend who was like, yo, my friend, her Nikki, her mom was in town from Baltimore, visiting up in New Jersey, right outside New York. She's like, yo, my mom, she's like, I need a Pepsi to set on my stomach. Don't you love those moments?
Yes.
Pepsi to set on my stomach. And she mean it. She mean it.
Yes.
Pepsi's not going to sell your stomach.
Yes.
Whatever. Well, how about you? Did you have a Pepsi Coke life? I know you're from New York, so.
Pepsi.
Okay.
Pepsi. Listen, I don't know what these Georgia folks talk about. Pepsi. Now, in my more advanced age now, I like to mix cocktails. If it's ever rum and Coke, I can't do a rum and Pepsi. I don't think I could do a rum and Pepsi. I think Coke mixes better because it's not as sweet and it allows room for the spirit that you're mixing it with. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times rum is sweet already. So to have like sweet rum with like Pepsi, that might be a lot. To just drink by itself, I would say Pepsi. But to mix with like in a cocktail or a drink, I would say Coke. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So let me talk about my friend André Hereford is his name. Brilliant young man. Like done a lot of stuff that you know about, but it's very like behind the scenes quiet within that, just doing his thing. He's since left New York and moved to DC. And I think he's from Kentucky. Either Kentucky or I think Kentucky, like Louisville, Kentucky. And he had this drink that he would do that I was kind of like, and had it a few times like, oh, okay. And it had quite a name. We may have to beep it out. But he would mix Pepsi and vodka and called it exactly. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, okay, you named it appropriately, but it's a little like when you hit it, it popped you in the mouth like, oh, okay, and it's the kind of thing you like, I don't want to do this. I ain't gonna have no more of this. This is nasty,
Interesting.
Totally, right? That was his signature drink. Pepsi. I was like, how did you first discover this?
Yeah, like who does that?
I'm sure some aunt did it.
Probably.
Some aunt did it. Pepsi and vodka. Yeah. It's not something I do every day, but it's
interesting. Okay. Well, I have a final question for you, brother, I think to bring us to a close.
Bring it.
And this is serious. This is serious. All right? Talk to me about either the outer body experience that you have or the spiritual awakening or reckoning you have when you hear the ice cream truck outside your window. Like, take me through, like, what do you feel in your body? Where does your mind go? What happens to you? Because I was just down here and I heard Mr. Softee outside. And I know a lot of people that, and there's there's a lot of history that goes into some of these ice cream trucks too.
Exactly.
Talk about that. But brother, talk to me.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned the history and the complicated moments with the Mr. Softee song and what the lyrics may be and all the realness. And we understand we represent no more fight the power. But oh my gosh, to this day still. I mean, I'm talking about right now, my mouth is watering. Just thinking about it, my mouth is watering. Like a Mr. Softee ice cream on a day like today.
Oh my goodness.
90 degrees. And you don't even know you hot until you have it. When I was I remember the moment because we ain't have much. So we weren't getting Mr. Softee all the time. It was very like, I was sitting and watch other kids get it and be like, no, I'm good. Good. And then every once in a while, I wasn't going to dare run in the house and ask for like money for Mr. Softee. I knew that was like, pop, like get out of here, So every once in a while, somebody's father or mother or cousin or uncle or sister or brother would like people can hook it up. You know, when the Mr. Softee or the we had Jack and Jill also.
Mm-hmm.
They had mostly popsicle. But for me, I remember the moment I graduated. The first time I got that like Mr. Softee's, and it's funny to think about people are like, oh my God, soft serve. It's like, what? You know, the first time I got Mr. Softee dipped in that red stuff that gets hard, because I don't like chocolate, so I didn't do the chocolate. They would, you know, that red stuff, and it's like, what is this? It's just instantly hard, you know.
I think it's from Mars.
What's that?
I think it's from Mars, the planet Mars.
It's totally from Mars.
Thanks
It's totally from Mars and delicious. And then discovering pudding, and this is Philly,
Mm-hmm.
Philly, to get jimmies on it, not sprinkles, jimmies.
Mm-hmm.
Little, what's for people? That's a little confetti, little what God knows what it is. It's plastic with a little bit of sugar in it. But
you know what I wanted to say is it's the sugar version of crack. That's what I wanted to say. But you know.
Yeah, man, come on. I'm still to talk about it. Not that I want it, but like the Mr. Softee moment. You have been through and your hands are sticky, your face is sticky, and you got the bottom of that round cone, and it's the four little corners, and as you go in and put the ice cream out in the little corners, and then you bite half, and you got half left, and then you bite a quarter, you get the last. That's a joyful moment. That's a joyful moment. Yes. Or you might mess up and get the push pop.
Oh, don't do that.
Push pop was never as satisfying as it could.
Don't do that. It's like, you know, you want to try something new, and then you look at everybody else's, you're like,
or that jumbo red, white, and blue popsicle.
You get that from the corner store for like 35 cents. Don't do that.
Exactly. You need homeboy to do this.
Yes.
And move your cone around. Let's get whole motion in. You gotta pull down and then curl it.
Yes.
And then do that quick dip with that stuff from Mars. Woof.
Yes. Woof. I don't know what type of technology that is, but it's not from here. It's not from here. It is not from here.
How about you? Does it happen to you when the ice cream truck comes?
Oh, there's times. So I've had a number of different experiences. So in Harlem, it's always in the Mr. Softee truck. And you know, you always hear that. When I was in the Bronx, though, when I would visit my grandmother, there's like this annoying truck that just goes around, plays some music loud. Then you hear this like lady who says, hello. It's like, I don't know if that was, I don't know what that was about. It's annoying. But I also want some ice cream. You're really annoying, but I want ice cream. And I know you're here because you said hello. So I really remember probably getting sometimes, because you couldn't really get the toppings and stuff because you only had a certain amount of money you could spend. So sometimes I'll have to settle for one of the good humor bars. You know, maybe just like Clear, strawberry shortcake, toasted almond. Then there's other times where it's like, what? I can get some soft serve with a little bit of caramel. And then you really want a ball, you get the waffle cone, the sugar cone. You don't really need the cardboard tasting cone. You know, you graduate from that. You're able to get something with some crunch to it, not something that is going to dissolve in your tongue like spaceship or, you know, the astronaut ice cream that they have when they go places. So it's good. It's good. So I you know, I mean, now when I hear it, it's like, you know what? I wonder what that tastes like now, because, you know, I don't know if it'll be as fulfilling because I have the money to pay for it. You know?
And also our palate.
Not having it. It's like,
The palate is more mature too.
Yes.
I do not want to have Mr. Softee and have it taste like horror. Because I'll be like Michael Jackson. Have you seen my childhood? You know, like all messed up. Like seriously, you know? Like seriously. Because right now that's the best tasting anything ever, right? Mr. Softee is the best tasting. I don't ever want to try it.
I hear that. That's fair, man. That's fair. That's wise. That's wise, and it's healthy.
Yeah, it is healthy. So you brought us to a new level that I think is important to distinguish out. I know it was your last question, but I want to just make the note that for our listeners and our watchers that are tuning in that may relate to this, Harlem is the like do too much, but the Bronx, I don't know what the word is. The Bronx just F it up. Bronx just F it up. Like if Harlem is too much, the Bronx is like destroy it.
Yes, 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 yes.
I love
Some might call it the boogie down Bronx. You
Boogie
know,
Down.
if you think about some of the history of the Bronx is burning, it might be the burn it down Bronx. You know,
Oh,
but they get it popping. They do. So, you know, my claim to fame is born in the Bronx, raised in Harlem. So I got a little bit of all that in me. Just a little bit. A little bit.
you know, when you go to the Bronx, you're gonna have a good time.
Oh,
You might
absolutely.
come out limping, a little damaged, lost some of your stuff, but you're gonna have a good time.
Absolutely.
A good time in the boogie down.
Mm.
Oh man, this is beautiful.
Oh
As you,
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Mr. Softee, but I'm not gonna do it.
Don't do it, brother. There's better options out there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna raise my glass.
You want to toast to, brother?
You know, I think to the joy of the memories,
Mm.
complicated life we had,
Mm.
journey towards happiness.
Yes, sir. Cheers.
Beautiful. Mm. Mr. Softee.
Mm-hmm.
All good stuff. Oh man, Brown Juice Barbershop does it again.
This barbershop. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
It doesn't disappoint, does it?
Not at all. Not at all. It's always a great to be in conversation with you, good brother.
Sure, for sure, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Excellent, man. Well,
So
I hope
next time,
continues to be wonderful, great, and fantastic. Happy August. Happy everything.
yes. And until next time, you know, stay safe, stay healthy, Mrs. Softee in moderation or not at all. You know, preserve your innocence. And then, you know, next time we'll see what we got going on.
Exactly. Rock and roll.
All right, good brother.
Brown Juice Barbershop.
Peace.